Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday service for October 20th of 2024. A few weeks ago, I was asked this question. If everything I think and do has the energy of God behind it, then isn't everything I do God's will? But the real question is, when is it my will and when is it God's will? So, the essence of this question is actually the nature of will itself. And will is often perceived as a driving force behind our actions and decisions. In the context of spirituality, it becomes essential to differentiate between our own personal will, which really is often rooted in ego and desires, and divine will, which aligns with a higher purpose and universal love. So Charles Fillmore discussed this in many of his writings. And in the 12 Powers of Man, he stated, the will is the faculty of the mind that enables us to choose. And this faculty can be employed in alignment with our higher self, or conversely, it can be driven by our own egos and our own desires. So when our choices stem from a place of love and unity, they resonate with God's will. On the other hand, when they stem from fear or separation, they're more aligned with our personal will. And Myrtle Fillmore emphasized the importance of alignment with divine will. She stated, it is only by realizing our unity with God that we can know the truth of our being. And so her perspective suggests that true will is not merely a matter of personal ambition, but rather a reflection of our connection to the divine. And when we attune ourselves to our oneness with God, she stated, we can discern the whispers of divine guidance over the noise of personal desires. So, what is God's will? And Ernest Holmes once wrote, God's will is the creative urge of the universe. And so his statement actually suggests that God's will is not an actual set of rules that we have to follow, but it's rather an inborn tendency toward creation and growth. And therefore, when we're in alignment with this creative force, we're actually fulfilling God's will. In The Way of Mastery, which is a great book that several of us are studying, those teachings emphasize the importance of surrendering personal will to divine will. And it states, when you surrender your will to God, you open the door to the flow of divine creativity. But this surrender does not necessarily mean being passive. It actually invites us to be an active participant in the unfolding of life, your life. And by letting go of the need to control outcomes, we align ourselves with the natural flow of divine intention. So the question then is, what is the role of intention? And so intention plays actually a pivotal role in discerning personal will from divine will. And Emily Cady wrote extensively about the power of intention. And she was the one that wrote Lessons in Truth, which is kind of what Fillmore said was the Bible of unity in a sense. And she wrote, what you intend is what you create. So that statement actually underscores the importance of being mindful of our intentions. And so if our intentions are self-serving, they will reflect personal will. However, when they're directed towards service and love and higher good, they actually resonate more with divine will. And Katie further emphasized that our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality. If our beliefs are rooted in limitation or fear, our will may be misaligned with God's greater purpose. To live in accordance with divine will, one must cultivate beliefs that reflect love, abundance, and unity. And that's her statement. Now, Saint Germain, which is a person that I have several of his books and I read those. And he actually stated that understanding the balance between personal will and divine will is actually, there's a dual nature of existence where personal will and divine will coexist. He wrote, your will is part of the divine will, and your personal choices contribute to the greater tapestry of life. And he made several statements saying that this way of thinking actually suggests that rather than viewing personal will and divine will as opposing forces, we can understand them as being interconnected. Our individual choices can align with divine purpose, which then contributes to the greater whole. And when we consciously choose actions that are loving and compassionate, we actually participate in the unfolding of the divine will in the world. But how do we kind of navigate the intricacies of kind of discerning personal will from divine will? And some of the things that Fillmore and Ernest Holmes and even Emily Cady all stated, the first one was self-reflection. And to regularly engage in self-reflection to examine the motives behind your choices. You have to ask yourself if your decisions stem from love or fear. And this practice can actually help clarify whether you're operating from a personal will or doing your best to align with the divine guidance that you're receiving. And of course, some of the key things is meditation and prayer. And cultivating a practice of meditation and prayer to connect with your higher self and divine will is essential. And Fillmore stated, through prayer, we align our thoughts with the divine. And this connection can provide clarity and insight into your true desires. And then ask for guidance. Look for signs and synchronicities that indicate alignment with divine will. You know, so often the universe communicates to us through subtle clues and always guiding us toward the path of least resistance, which is actually the path of divine will. And of course, one of the things that each and every one of the authors that I've quoted, everyone that I'm reading, is service to others. Service to others, actually engaging in acts of service, can help shift our focus from personal desires to the greater good. Now, Emily Cady highlights the transformative power of service, suggesting that when we serve others, we are actually embodying divine will. And of course, trust in the unfolding of life, the wisdom of the universe. Saint Germain reminds us that our personal choices contribute to the greater divine plan, encouraging us to trust that we are being guided. However, ultimately discerning the difference between personal and divine will actually involves cultivating a deep connection with our inner selves and the greater universe. So through our own self-reflection, our prayers, our meditations, our service to others, trusting the universe, we can actually align our personal will with the divine flow, becoming instruments of love and creativity in the world. The journey of understanding this interplay not only enhances our spiritual growth, but also enriches our lives with so much meaning and purpose. So actually, the bottom line in all this is, are you coming from love or something else? Anything other than love is your will, not God's. Any act we do, if not from love, is our will. God's will for us is for total health, prosperity, joy, peace, and happiness. If we are wishing anything other than that on anyone, we're not coming from God's will. We're coming from our own. And remember, God's will for us is for everyone, not just those that we say should be the recipients. We are all perfect creations of God, but how we decide to use that is up to us. And this is where free will comes in. We all have choice, and it's up to us to personally choose whether we are going to follow God's plan for us or our plan. And just remember that God's will for us is all good. Love, life, prosperity, health, joy, peace, abundance of all sorts. That is God's will for us. And when we take our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, and when we are moving forward in all of that, with the energy of all of that for all of life, that is when we know that we are flowing with God's will for us, for the world, for every being on this world, for every creature on this world, and for all of life around us. Thank you so much for listening to this message today, and God bless each and every one of you. Have a beautiful week. Take care.